broke the previous record low of -50 that was back in 2008. A study was conducted over the first week of May using mobile interviews. Malacanang adds the result could have been worse given the challenges brought by the COVID-19 crisis. The Asian Development Bank is also seeing a gloomier picture for the country's growth, at least for 2020. The Manila-based lender now sees the economy shrinking by 3.8%, a reversal of its previous 2% growth forecast in April. Apart from being the lowest growth forecast yet among international lenders, ADB's projection is also worse than that of the government, which says it expects contraction of 3.4%. The ADB revised its outlook on the back of a slowdown in both household consumption and investments. It also believes that the contraction in the global economy will continue to drag external trade, tourism, and remittances. We'll pause for a short break, but when the big story returns, the Health Department admits its shortcomings in reporting COVID-19 cases as bottlenecks persist. And for those who have not yet enrolled their children for school, there's now an old school option for you. These big stories after the break. I'm Robbie Alampay. You're watching The Big Story. There are now almost 27,800 COVID-19 cases in the Philippines. This after the Health Department announced more than 560 new cases. 480 of that are fresh, while over 80 are late. The number of deaths from the virus is now at 1,110. That is after 9 new fatalities were reported today. But recoveries have also risen to close to 7,100, with 270 new recoveries over the past 24 hours. Meanwhile, Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere admits that despite being transparent in the reporting of cases, there are still some deficiencies in the agency's COVID-19 data. In an interview with Radio 5, she expressed hope that they can give real-time updates soon.
Meron lang tayo mga konting shortfalls dito sa pagre-report ng fresh and late cases na alam natin na yung mga naire-report natin, yung iba dyan ay talagang hindi siya ayon doon sa dates na sinasabi natin. Ngunit nakikipagtulungan na tayo ngayon sa ating mga private sector para maibsan itong nagiging bottlenecks natin sa pagre-report.
The Interior Department needs around 82,000 contact tracers. That is to beef up the already 50,000 strong contact tracing team nationwide. The DILG proposes for the IATF to only hire 50,000 as LGUs are already answering for some of the shortage. Applicants should have a bachelor's degree or a 2-year degree on health or criminology-related courses. The DILG expects to hire contact tracers by the next month. The Labor Department is now doubling its efforts to send OFWs home as quickly as possible, including setting a 5-day limit for those staying in quarantine facilities. Jenny Dongon has the report.
After arriving back to the Philippines in June 1, this group of over 200 seafarers from Barbados underwent a 14-day quarantine in their ship. With their COVID-19 test turning out negative, they are now allowed to go back home. Their leader is on cloud 9 now that he'll finally see his family in Quezon after a month of waiting.
Nagtutulungan ho kami, nagkakaroon kami ng pagtutulungan sa mental, physical, spiritual na level para maging strong yung aming faith na malalampasan namin lahat.
Like him, Bing, who is 5 months pregnant, had to undergo a 14-day quarantine at a hotel in Manila after arriving from Bahrain. She wanted to give birth in the country, and now she'll finally make her way home.
Isa ko madali ako mahaway, mga ganon. So, dasal lang. Wala, nagdadasal ako, maingatan ako.
The Labor Department, together with other agencies, are now working double time to send home the remaining OFWs who are stuck at quarantine facilities in NCR. To date, Dolly has sent home around 53,000 OFWs. New IATF protocols require OFWs to stay in facilities for a maximum of 5 days.
Kaya wag na po kayo mag-alala, yung mga darating, 5 days ang maximum stay nyo sa Metro Manila. We will bring you home immediately. Yun ang ating patakaran ngayon.
The agency is also in talks with local government units. OFWs won't have to be quarantined for another 14 days upon arrival.
Kaya pag natapos kayo dito ng swabbing, negative kayo, pwede na kayong agad umuwi. At doon, siguro yung mayor nyo o yung governor nyo, tetest lang kayo minsan, libre na kayo. Ayun. Kaya hindi na kagaya dati na 14 days ko ma-quarantine dito, pagdating mo doon, 14 days din.
Dole expects the arrival of some 16,000 OFWs by the end of June. Belli assures a faster quarantine process by administering COVID-19 tests in 2 to 3 days only. For News 5, Jenny Dongon, PR1 News.
These are the other big stories today. All Manila courts have been placed under lockdown until June 30 after 2 court employees had close contact with COVID-19 patients. Meanwhile, the NBA headquarters in Manila is on partial lockdown following the death of a COVID-infected detainee. MRT3 conducted rapid testing on all its maintenance workers today after 15 depot personnel tested positive for the virus. The MRT3 management vowed to implement additional health protocols to limit the access of maintenance personnel to train stations. And Grab Philippines confirms that some of its employees will be retrenched. That is after the Singapore-based ride-hailing giant announced it would be cutting 360 jobs due to the pandemic. With some parents lacking connectivity or the technological know-how, the Education Department is turning to drop boxes to make enrollment more accessible. Pat Mangune has the details.
After launching an online-only option for enrollment in the first 2 weeks of June, the Education Department is now turning to drop boxes for those who don't have online access to enroll their kids to school. In this new system, parents will only need to fill out the Learner Enrollment and Survey Form, or LESF, for their children and submit it through the drop boxes in their respective schools. This is a sigh of relief for some parents.
Mas maganda pa rin yung dati na face-to-face. Katulad sa akin, walang, di ba, walang wifi, walang ano, kaya nagpunta talaga ako dito sa school para ma-enroll yung mga anak ko.
Manual, kasi pwede kami magtanong eh. If ever may mali sa pipila pa namin, pwede kami magtanong.
Parents signed up their kids at the Bagong Silangan Elementary School, where half of their 8,000 students have already been enrolled online. The school also adopted a scheme where homeowner associations collected enrollment forms in their area and had it submitted in one go.
Sa palagay ko, mas maganda. Lesson sa work ng mga nanay.
Meanwhile, the Holy Spirit Elementary School observed that more than half of the parents prefer manual enrollment, especially for private school transferees. Enrollment was also scheduled depending on grade level.
Iniingatan po kasi namin yung volume ng tao na pumapasok at saka yung pila sa labas na madami. Kasi mahirap po, 8,000. Lalo po ngayon maraming privates na nagtatransfer po sa public.
Latest figures from DepEd show that almost 12 million students have already registered for the coming school year in public schools nationwide, while private schools have more than 400,000 enrollees. Numbers are still expected to rise as the deadline approaches on June 30. For News 5, Patricia Mangune. We are One News.
Coming up on the big story. As Filipinos went online amid the pandemic, so did the scammers. Authorities have recorded a surge in online fraud, especially on Facebook. And gone are the days when Metro Manila residents enjoyed clean air during the stricter quarantine measures. Air pollutants are now rising to unhealthy levels again. The details when we return. This is the big story. I'm Robbie Alampay. As e-commerce flourished amid the pandemic, so did online scams, prompting authorities now to craft a new law to police cyber racketeers. Ria Fernandez has the story.
Just to give you an idea kung gaano karami.
More and more scammers appear to be taking advantage in social media. But according to authorities, most of the victims still choose not to report the incidents.
Wala akong katapusan yan. There will be thousands and thousands of mistakes. And not everyone is going to the police kasi ang involved lang naman na pera is 1,500, 2,000.
The most common complaint is the non-arrival of items ordered online. Netizens also decry overpriced products, including health essentials. Since the quarantine period, the PNP-CIDG has conducted over 300 operations against those who were selling overpriced medical supplies online. Authorities have seized 54 million pesos worth of face masks and alcohol. Data from the Trade Department show that majority of the reported transactions in the past 2 months were carried out on Facebook. In a House hearing conducted earlier today, Lazada, an online shopping company, said it has a good resolution rate on the complaints lodged before them with the help of their own guidelines. But for the PNP, a law is still needed to combat online scams. And so they support House Bill 6122, aimed at creating an e-commerce bureau to protect not only the customers but the merchants as well.
The problem is, kung ikaw ay naloko, nagbigay ka na ng pera, na-claim na nung seller at hindi niya pinadala ang item, dadaan ka sa butos ng karayong para malaman kung saan kinlaim ng seller at sino yung nag-claim ng pera at pinadala. Dadaan ka sa butos ng karayong. We need to make that easier. At kung easier yan, I'm very, very sure 90% or 95% more problems on online scamming ay mababawasan. Dahil matatakot na sila.
But for Representative Sharon Garin, regulations should be laid down, especially upon learning that a lot of unauthorized foreign products slip through online selling.
Better not in the law. It's better in the regulations, but there should be minimum standards that are set forth in the law that we are proposing.
The House Trade and Industry Committee has created a technical working group to consider the inputs from various agencies in the deliberation of HB 6122 or the Internet Transaction Act. For News 5, Ria Fernandez, we are One News.
Environmental groups warn the notorious air quality in Metro Manila is making a comeback. That's after the region shifted to GCQ. Shaila Francisco with the story.
Metro Manila enjoyed cleaner air during the enhanced community quarantine. But as the government eased restrictions mid-May, air pollution levels have again been steadily increasing. In a report by Greenpeace and Center for Research on Energy and Clean Air, levels of nitrogen dioxide, a major air pollutant, began rising by 50% in May. This further increased by 24% during the modified enhanced community quarantine. The biggest spikes were recorded in Makati and Pasig at 75%, while San Juan, Quezon City, Marikina, and Manila followed suit. The DNR's Environmental Management Bureau also noted a jump in levels of other pollutants like particulate matter 10 and 2.5, which are found in dust and smoke. These rose 30% during the first week of GCQ and has now climbed to as much as 50%. That's why some cities are already classified as unhealthy for sensitive groups.
Most of the contributory factor ng air pollution ay coming from vehicle. Kung 100% lalabas yung ating mga motor vehicle at saka talagang mag-fully operational na naman yung mga establishments, mga factories, expected natin na tataas yung ating air pollution index.
Greenpeace warns pollution may return to pre-COVID days if left unchecked, which could pose a threat especially since we're still in the middle of a global pandemic.
It will actually give us more risk sa pagkakaroon ng mga cardiovascular diseases, respiratory ailments like asthma, at saka magle-lessen yung ating immune response sa COVID. Mas magiging prone tayo sa COVID-19.
To keep air quality at manageable levels, the group recommends retaining flexible remote work arrangements, walking, and biking. They are also calling on the government to look for alternative modes of transportation with low carbon emission. For its part, the EMB advises the public to only go out and use vehicles whenever necessary to prevent more vehicles plying the roads. Shaila Francisco, We Are One News.
Let's take a quick look at some of the world's big stories. U.S. President Donald Trump's former advisor, John Bolton, is accusing him of pleading with Chinese President Xi Jinping to help in securing his re-election. In a book which the White House has sued to block, Bolton alleges that Trump's focus on clinching a second term is the driving principle of his foreign policy. Meanwhile, Beijing reports 21 new confirmed domestically transmitted COVID-19 infections, 3 of which are asymptomatic. The Chinese capital has so far recorded more than 500 local cases, with more than 150 still receiving medical treatment. And German biotech firm CureVac is set to launch human trials for an experimental COVID-19 vaccine that would make it the second company to start human clinical tests in the European country. If results are favorable, the vaccine could be rolled out as early as mid-2021. The COVID-19 pandemic has thrown the dates of international film festivals into disarray, among them the Oscars, which have been pushed back to April 2021, 2 months later than originally planned. Organizers have agreed to extend the eligibility window until the end of February next year. Next year's BAFTA is also following suit, suspending the event until April 11, 2021. Film companies say productions for a number of movies are still halted due to the global health crisis. The PLDT Smart Foundation donated relief packs to families in a fire-hit residential area in Mandaluyong City. The PLDT Smart Foundation gave out grocery packs and packed lunch to more than 500 families in Barangay Addition Hills in Mandaluyong. Foundation President Esther Santos and Talk and Text basketball players handed out the relief packs to the families. They were joined by your 200 pesos organization's Michelle Gumapao. The local government of Mandaluyong thanked PLDT Smart Foundation for its donations. And that wraps up today's big story. Catch us again tomorrow, 8 p.m. on Signal Channels 8 and 250. Please like our Facebook page, One News. For more in-depth analysis, visit our webpage, onenews.ph. You can also catch the news on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Robbie Alampay, and we are One News. Good evening.